a logo. First Media Production Group.
Right now at 5, President Trump declares the supreme leader of Iran is dead. We have live team coverage of the joint attack orchestrated by the U.S. and Israel, the reception among the Iranian people, and the impact here at home.
NBC4 News at 5 starts with breaking news.
We begin with breaking news at this hour. President Trump announcing the strikes on Iran were successful. At 1:37 p.m. our time, he posted to Truth Social that Iran's supreme leader has been killed.
And right now, Iranian state media is disputing that claim. It would mark the most significant step yet in this months-long escalation. In that Truth Social post, President Trump calling Ayatollah Ali Khamenei, quote, one of the most evil people in history. He also said heavy and pinpoint bombing will continue uninterrupted for as long as necessary.
We are seeing that play out at this very hour. Here is a map of some of the locations of the strikes in Iran thus far. The IDF saying it just completed yet another round. The U.S. says it has fired at hundreds of targets. And then take a look at this here, a time lapse from Flight Radar 24. I believe we have it here for you. There it is, showing no commercial or passenger flights over Iran or Israel during these attacks. And Iran is retaliating, firing attacks of its own at Israel and at U.S. military bases. We have seen hits in Bahrain and Dubai and the Emirates. In an exclusive interview, Iran's foreign minister told NBC News that Tehran is willing to talk de-escalation, but that regime change is, quote, impossible. Tonight, we have new photos released by the White House showing President Trump and his closest advisors monitoring the operation from a makeshift situation room set up at his Mar-a-Lago resort in Florida. We begin now with our Conan Nolan here in studio with the very latest breaking developments out of the Middle East. Conan.
So the president said he had given the Iranian government 15 days to come to terms in a negotiated settlement to disarm. In the end, he cut it short on day 9. The U.S. with Israeli help launched an all-out assault with the apparent intent of not only eliminating Iran's ability to wage war, but to completely destroy its leadership.
The surprise attack came not at night, but in broad daylight. A joint U.S.-Israeli military assault on Iran. Hundreds of targets, with the Pentagon focusing on Iranian military infrastructure, particularly its ballistic missile sites, and the Israelis with drone and missile attacks targeting the government's. President Trump posting this afternoon on social media that the Iranian supreme leader, Ayatollah Ali Khamenei, was killed in one of the airstrikes. Khamenei has led the intensely repressive Iranian regime for nearly 40 years. In a taped address, the president called the military action an opportunity for the people of Iran to seize control of their government.
Now is the time to seize control of your destiny and to unleash the prosperous and glorious future that is close within your reach.
The Iranian military responded by attacking not just U.S. military bases in the region, but also civilian targets in neighboring countries it is accused of being complicit with the United States. A high-rise building in Bahrain, a drone strike in Dubai, other airstrikes in Jordan and in Israel. Matt Bradley of NBC News in Tel Aviv.
And this was a huge impact site. And some of the rescue workers there said that multiple people, at least one person, had been killed.
I call for de-escalation and an immediate cessation of hostilities.
The U.S.-Israeli attack was condemned by the Secretary General of the UN during an emergency meeting of the Security Council and by the Iranian ambassador.
The aggressors have also targeted a school in the city of Minab, Hormozgan province, killing more than 100 children.
That claim has not been independently confirmed. Senior Trump administration officials have told NBC News that Iran is threatening American forces in the region with potential missile strikes, and the U.S. acted preemptively. The American ambassador to the UN is Mike Waltz.
American diplomacy was attempted repeatedly and in good faith. But diplomacy cannot succeed where there is no genuine willingness to cease aggression.
What the president called a war on Iran is expected to last for days, if not longer. Looking ahead is NBC military analyst retired Colonel Warren.
Number one, I'm looking at the Iranians' ability to continue retaliatory strikes. If that begins to tick down, we'll know that we've had significant impact on their capability. And then I'm looking to see who's going to take charge of Iran, in the coming days, assuming the Ayatollah has been killed.
And that is important. The Iranian government has confirmed the Ayatollah's daughter, son-in-law, and grandchild have been killed, but not the supreme leader himself. Although in Southern California's massive Persian American community, there is hope for many posting celebrations. I got a text from one person who said he's thrilled because he called the devil has been sent to hell. So again, a lot of emotion here in our community.
And how are Iranians in Los Angeles responding? Los Angeles is home to the largest Iranian diaspora in the world, and many of them coming after the first Ayatollah took over.
Exactly. In 1979, you had a surge in Southern California. Beverly Hills, Encino, Santa Monica, the largest communities in the country. And so they have been waiting, so many of them, can't speak with great uniformity, but most of them, I think, have been waiting for this day. They wanted the president to act. The question is, though, how much stomach do you have? Because the president, in his message, talked about U.S. casualties. That hasn't happened before, and that will be a test of this administration if that takes place.
Right. Polls said that they didn't want U.S. troops to get involved. It's not a popular view.
Right, and it was a fundamental element of MAGA, Make America Great Again, is that supporters of the president said they didn't want any kind of foreign interactions or foreign wars. And so a lot of them, he's getting pushback from the far right, but success breeds success. If he's able to bring this together and have a regime change without American blood being shed, that would be remarkable, frankly, and it would be a win for him, but it's a big gamble.
All right, we'll hear from you later. We know. Thank you so much for coming in. And on the subject of our local Iranian community, we have our Macy Jenkins live in Westwood following the demonstration that's happening there. Is it joyful? Mostly, Macy.
It mostly is, Kathy. Dozens of people gathered in front of the federal building earlier this afternoon to do what I would only call as a celebration. Some of them have gone home, but there are still pockets here. The chanting going back and forth between thank you to Trump and USA, and then Javid Shah, which means long live king. It's a chant used to protest the Islamic Republic and to celebrate and possibly usher in a constitutional monarchy.
The sounds of jubilation ringing out in Westwood on Saturday after confirmation that U.S.-Israel strikes killed Iran's supreme leader.
He killed many of us for many years. So, Islamic Republic is a terrorist regime. And all of us Iranians, both inside and outside, want a free Iran and wants this regime to be gone.
Many of the faces in the crowd, the relatives of Iranians who fled during the 1979 revolution. Many immigrating to Westwood and Southern California to escape the regime, the region becoming home to the largest population of Iranians outside of the country.
They killed my brother when he was 14 years old. Today is like our dream came true. The most dictator, the person who killed thousands of people, 36,000 of people, put a lot of people in the jail, today is dead.
Last December, the country's currency collapsed, prompting Iranians to protest in the street and demand a regime change. But since then, President Trump says more than 32,000 have been killed in bloody government crackdowns. Last month and again today, President Trump urging Iranians to, quote, take over your government.
Dear President, and Israel and its people and its president for help us free Iran.
I talked to my dad recently. He's in Tehran and he's looking for, he's also looking for freedom.
We want to choose our future. We want to see which part of the government our people want to decide, and after that we respect that.
And here's a live look at one of the small demonstrations still going on. LAPD was stationed at several intersections along Wilshire, redirecting traffic as people walked in for several blocks, to join in. Those roadblocks have since been lifted. Reporting live here in Westwood, Macy Jenkins, NBC4 News.
Israeli flags among Iranian flags. Quite a moment, Macy. Thank you. And right now we have new video in from another demonstration. This happening in downtown LA. was called a no war on Iran rally right by City Hall. A few dozen people gathered just a couple hours ago. And across the country, there have been several other demonstrations taking place. We're talking about Boston, D.C., New Orleans, Orlando. These four are all anti-war protests calling for no U.S. intervention. But again, as we've seen here in Los Angeles, some people are also taking a much more celebratory tone today. Also tonight, California Governor Gavin Newsom is speaking out, tweeting earlier, quote, "The corrupt and repressive Iranian regime must never have nuclear weapons. The leadership of Iran must go." But that does not justify the President of the United States engaging in an illegal, dangerous war that will risk the lives of our American service members and our friends without justification to the American people. President Trump is putting Americans at risk abroad because he is unpopular at home. Now, a key piece of these strikes in the Middle East are the reverberations here at home. Several agencies, from the LAPD to the LA County Sheriff's Department to Mayor Bass and the FBI, all saying they are closely monitoring any credible threats here at home, but so far there are none. Earlier, we spoke with counterterrorism expert Dr. Errol Southers. He said specifically trained officers are now monitoring as a protective measure.
This specialized police officers were assigned to all 21 divisions, and they were designed years ago to develop relationships with community leaders, with people in the community, to focus on patrols, to enhance their relationships, and to be able to step up in times like this, where they will say, here's what we're going to do. There's no specific threat. If you hear something, see something, of course, to these officers have direct communication with.
Dr. Southers went on to say that people should feel safe and not be surprised if they see any extra police patrols while they worship. Turning back to the people now, NBC4's Tracy Leong live right now in Westwood, continuing team coverage with reaction coming in from Little Tehran. Tracy.
Yeah, Jonathan and Kathy, the celebrations continue over here, also known as Tehrangeles, because it is the largest Iranian population outside of Iran. You can hear honking, you can see people cheering, and just looking all around, you can see people waving Iranian flags. People we spoke to say it is a sense of relief and joy and a turning point for Iran.
I hope they're able to democratically have a democratic government that they actually vote for, and I'm excited for women's rights to prevail there and not being forced to wear hijabs.
I hope right now we're in Westwood. Everyone's eating ice cream, hanging out, cheering. We're singing, we're dancing. And this is what Tehran is going to look like soon. Everyone's going to be free. They're going to have their freedoms and Iran will prosper again.
And many people say this is a great start and it is a step in the right direction for Iran, and they are hopeful for the future. Reporting live, Tracy Leong, NBC4 News.
Tracy, thank you. Now, flights in the Middle East are halted after the strikes on Iran. You can see empty counters here at LAX for Turkish, Emirates, and Qatar Airlines. We did speak with travelers whose connection